The ethereal voice and profoundly personal songs of Stevie Nicks have made her a rock icon for many years. Decades of hit songs, unforgettable performances, and deeply personal lyrics, influenced by the people she has met and the experiences she has had throughout her career, have built her reputation as a 76-year-old artist. Aside from her music and the mystery surrounding her, there is a side of her life that revolves around a deep and enduring love that she rarely discusses. For the first time, Nicks has spoken publicly about the one she will never forget. Love, loss, and enduring relationships are prevalent themes throughout the novel. She never truly moved on from this man, and she even wrote some of her most famous songs about him. The legendary Stevie Nicks and the incredible Lindsey Buckingham first connected in the 60s while attending California's Menlo Atherton High School. The future of rock and roll was altered when they became officially and emotionally close upon first meeting. Like their music, their relationship became famous for its depth and creativity. Their natural harmonies, showcased at a senior event when they were still in school, hinted at the famed relationship that would later emerge when they sang together. Buckingham invited Nicks to join his band Fritz 2 years after they had parted ways after high school. They embarked on their rock music journey with this collaboration. The fast-paced and demanding world of 1960s rock music thrust them into the spotlight as they began filling in for famous acts like Janis Joplin and Jefferson Airplane. Nicks and Buckingham grew closer in the early 1970s. While Fritz lost some of his luster, they transitioned from being romantic interests to a romantic couple, and their music reflects the intensity of their feelings for one another. In 1973, they released Buckingham Nicks, their debut album as a duo. It may have bombed at the box office, but the record laid the groundwork for what was to come and attracted Mick Fleetwood, who extended an offer that would alter the course of their lives. Their 1975 reunion with Fleetwood Mac was a watershed moment in their relationship. Their relationship was already under a lot of strain before they joined the band, which breathed new life into it. The strain became apparent as they were recording the seminal album Rumors. Their bond started to weaken as they dealt with the challenges of unexpected fame and the intense focus of their artistic careers. Nicks and Buckingham's collaboration ended in 1976, the year Rumors was recorded. However, some of the most iconic rock songs of all time were born out of the anguish of their breakup. Nicks composed the melancholy tune Dreams, which laments a love lost, and Buckingham composed the upbeat tune Go Your Own Way, which expresses sadness. Their honesty about their struggles in the song Rumors, which went on to become one of the best-selling albums of all time, resonated with many. Although tensions persisted, Nicks and Buckingham persisted in collaborating musically following the breakup. The trademark of Fleetwood Mac became their arguments with each other. They energized their performances and gave their songs more depth, which won over fans. After a wild breakup with Buckingham, Nicks became famous and found new ways to express herself creatively. In the midst of this massive storm, she met J.D. Souther. Although their romance was brief, he played a significant role in it. Stevie Nicks and J.D. Souther initially crossed paths in the early 1000s, 970s, a time of thriving music culture in Los Angeles. The country rock star Souther had already achieved stardom by that point. Not only did he become famous as a musician, but he also wrote several hit songs for the Eagles. Nicks felt a connection to Souther because Souther had experienced fame firsthand following her split from Lindsey Buckingham, and while Fleetwood Mac's triumph was still vivid in her mind, the air was electric with their presence. Their connection extended beyond sensual longing to a stronger creative bond, and both were renowned for composing and performing heartfelt songs. Although their romance was brief, they shared a passion for music and held each other in high regard as performers. However, there were also significant challenges in the music industry that had brought them together. Women in the 1970s music industry were frequently marginalized or depicted solely in relation to their relationships with male artists due to the male dominance of the industry. Nicks wanted to be famous for her art, but she had to handle business issues and figure out her relationship with Souther at the same time. It piqued her interest that male artists, such as Souther, were accorded preferential treatment and admiration at the expense of female artists. Despite her meteoric rise to prominence, Nicks was cognizant of the gender gap in rock music. As their relationship progressed, these boundaries continued to annoy her. In response, she asserted her growing authority to advocate for other women in the industry. Interestingly, her bond with Souther appeared to have strengthened her resolve to be recognized for her abilities rather than her relationships. Their brief romance had a significant impact on Nicks's development as an artist. The creative insight and extensive music industry connections that Souther possessed allowed Nicks to discover new opportunities and ideas. Their relationship, in both professional and personal aspects, greatly influenced Nicks's distinctive style as a musician and record producer. In her songs, Nicks discussed her life after the breakup at length. The themes of autonomy, strength, and the pursuit of social acceptance were more prominent in her musical compositions. Many believe that this period impacted her songs such as After the Glitter Fades and Has Anyone Ever Written Anything for You? Nicks has always been private about her creative process, but her music still carries the profound emotional weight of her life experiences. Nicks entered into what would turn out to be her most challenging relationship ever after the initial excitement of her brief romance with Souther faded. The complex and significant relationship that Nicks had with Mick Fleetwood was a part of her private life. There was a strong correlation to the chaotic and innovative nature of Fleetwood Mac as well. Ultimately, this bond altered not only their band's performance, but also the process of creating rock music as a whole. When Fleetwood Mac were going through a tough patch in the late 70s, they began dating. The band's breakthrough album Rumors catapulted them to stardom, but behind the scenes, members' relationships were crumbling. The long-term relationship between Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks recently ended. Due to mental health issues and creative energy, Mick Fleetwood and Jenny Boyd were experiencing marital difficulties. There was no denying the mutual attraction between Nicks and Fleetwood. They had an intense but tumultuous relationship because they couldn't distinguish between their personal and professional lives. There were many highs and lows during the intense relationship that Nicks and Fleetwood shared. While they were together, they were constantly in the spotlight, had hectic tour schedules, and put in long hours in the studio. The songs of Fleetwood Mac were greatly influenced by this love story. Their songs had an authentic, raw quality that fans truly related to because of the roller coaster of emotions they went through. However, it also caused a great deal of drama within the group. While they were dealing with personal issues, the other members had to deal with the aftermath and attempt to keep things business as usual. Seeing his ex-boyfriend with another person was incredibly difficult for Buckingham. 40, small. Bandmates Nicks and Fleetwood's romance was never meant to endure, as is typical for those with such a troubled past. Just because they were in love doesn't mean they couldn't remain close after it ended. As members of Fleetwood Mac, Nicks and Fleetwood had to find a way to continue working together. They hit it off and started performing music together. Things weren't always pegged in their plans, but they still loved the band and each other deeply. Stevie Nicks began seeing another well-known musician after a tumultuous time with Fleetwood Mac. Rumors, the 1977 album by Fleetwood Mac, had just become a huge hit, which made her very happy. Drummer and lead singer for the Eagles, Don Henley, was likewise performing at a high level. Upon first meeting, chemistry blossomed between these two famous singers. Nicks and Henley were both well known for their mesmerizing live performances and their ability to convey powerful emotions through song. Because of their shared love of music and experience with fame, they were fantastic when they were in a band together. The intense feeling that united them, however, later betrayed them. They had a tough time juggling the demands of their bands with the pressures of their public relationships. They had strong personalities, which made things unpredictable, and they were constantly touring and seeking attention. The news that Nicks was pregnant in the midst of her exciting relationship was a devastating blow that altered the course of her life. I went through a roller coaster of emotions and had to make some tough decisions after hearing this news. At the time, both Nicks and Henley were in the prime of their careers, with upcoming tours and album projects keeping them very busy. Though they considered the possibility, they ultimately decided that having a family would not be in their best interests. Nicole Nicks ended the pregnancy after much soul-searching and, I'm sure, physical suffering. She and Henley would be profoundly affected by this deeply personal decision. It was a significant aspect of their relationship, so they would discuss it for a long time. After this decision was made, their relationship began to deteriorate. Their newfound love couldn't manage the pressures of their jobs and the weight of their unfulfilled potential. Their musical output, however, would continue to reflect the influences of their relationship long after their romantic relationship had ended. There was an unusual energy between Henley and Nicks that fused their professional and personal relationships. Both Nicks's career as a musician and the early 1980s music scene were profoundly affected by this. It was no secret that Nicks and Iovine were both on the rise. Iovine and Nicks had recently collaborated on Belladonna, Nicks's debut solo album. From the very beginning, they felt an intense attraction to one another. Because their motivations were complementary, Iovine was able to bring out Nicks's distinctive sound. Over the course of their many hours spent together in the studio, their friendship evolved from a professional to a more personal one. The process of creating Belladonna brought about significant changes in their professional and personal lives. The intimacy of the process, the shared enthusiasm for creating something unique, and the late hours spent together intensified their attraction to one another as they worked on their music. Nicks recognized in Iovine more than simply an accomplished producer. He had a gift for interpreting Nicks's creative vision and was instrumental in realizing it. Their growing closeness complicated everything they accomplished as a team. At this point, it became crystal clear that Iovine had an impact on Nicks's music. The sound that would characterize her solo career was partly his creation. Hits like Edge of 17 and Stop Dragging My Heart Around were the result of their collaboration. However, they did have difficult moments as a couple. While Iovine was busy becoming a household name as a top record producer, Nicks had to launch her solo career on top of her responsibilities to Fleetwood Mac. It was challenging to maintain a personal relationship alongside a business partnership in the fast-paced, high-stakes rock and roll industry. Regardless of these challenges, their bond was crucial as they continued to collaborate professionally and navigated changes in their personal relationship. There was a delicate balance between their previous relationship and their present collaboration, and they managed it well. Even though they broke up, they continued to impact each other's lives and careers. Among the most influential figures in the music industry, Iovine rose to prominence. He was instrumental in the creation of Beats Electronics and helped launch Interscope Records. Despite her personal problems, Nicks continued to ride the fame wave. While Robin was pregnant with Nicks's first child in 1982, she received the devastating news that she had leukemia, which would claim her life. Nicks was enjoying a successful solo career at the time. Knowing that she would soon be losing her best friend, Nicks took this terrible news very personally. Nicks pledged to be by her friend's side in her final moments as Robin's health deteriorated. Similarly devastated, Robin's husband, Kim Anderson, formed a close bond with his wife and made a hasty decision that was later interpreted as an effort to honor her unconsidered death wish. 3 months following Robin's death, Nicks and Anderson made the hasty decision to tie the knot in order to be there for Robin's child. When they tied the knot, their loved ones were taken aback and concerned. A lot of people thought it was more of a hasty choice made by someone sad than because of genuine love. Finally, Nicks would admit that she became a mother figure and got married to honor Robin's memory. Their once strong bond began to fray after the deaths of loved ones in their lives. Their distinctions were highlighted by this. At home, her rock and roll life became too laborious, even though she loved the freedom and excitement of it. While Nicks was very busy at work, Anderson found it difficult to keep up with everything. They were only married for 8 months before they decided to end the union with a divorce in 1984. Joe Walsh's relationship with Stevie Nicks was significant to her. It was tragic, full of love and problems, and it altered their sound and their lives. They began dating in the late 1970s when they were both highly accomplished professionals. Walsh had already established himself as a fantastic musician, and Nicks was tearing it up with Fleetwood Mac and solo. It was unusual for Nicks to consider Walsh her true partner, which made their partnership stand out. They were all successful in their own fields, and they loved and respected one another as a team. They became friends due to their shared appreciation for music and encouragement to pursue creative endeavors. The fact that Nicks repeatedly claimed to be her lover for Walsh was evidence of her undying love for him. Their relationship deteriorated as a result of their respective fame and personal issues. After a few years of being together, they saw that breaking up was for the best. Despite the amicable end to their relationship, Nicks' life and music were profoundly impacted by their time together. She was very forthcoming with Walsh and remained close to him. His influence is audible in her music to this day. Unlike other relationships Nicks had, this one with Walsh didn't feel like a power struggle or competition. Instead, it felt fair and helpful. As artists and individuals dealing with the pressures of fame, they truly understood one another. Walsh assisted Nicks in penning some of her most heartfelt songs during their highly imaginative journey. Their musical talents complement each other despite the fact that they were both battling substance abuse. Despite the challenges they faced, their relationship grew stronger. Not only were they friends, but they also helped each other out when they were in a jam. Nicks felt a deeper connection to her partner than in previous relationships as a result of sharing the highs and lows of fame. The love they had for one another was evident in their music, but they knew they needed space to heal, so they broke up. They made the tough decision together because they loved each other and wanted to remember each other. Following their breakup, Nicks struggled. She felt down and spent a lot of time thinking about herself. She later opened up about the difficulty of ending her relationship with Walsh. They remained linked in some way, and the anguish of being apart from him sparked her creativity. They formed a strong and lasting bond as a result of their love for one another. Their ability to remain physically close despite the breakup was evidence of their deep affection for one another. Reflecting on their relationship after all these years brought both sadness and joy to Nicks and Walsh. Nicks believed Walsh had influenced her more than anyone else, and that she still loved him. People are able to relate to her on a deeper level because of the way her music is influenced by her lyrics. One thing that makes Nicks special as an artist is her ability to draw from her own experiences to create universally relatable stories. The universal themes of love, heartbreak, and rising above adversity make her songs accessible even though they are frequently deeply personal. Amazingly, Nicks can use real-life experiences to craft poignant narratives about hunger, nostalgia, and the wisdom gained through struggle. Plus, she has a unique connection with her fans because she is open about the things that inspire her to write songs. As if listening to a piece of her personal journey, Her songs detail the highs and lows of her relationships. Because she is genuine and approachable, Nicks has been beloved by her fans for many years, who see her as more than just a rock star. The evolution of her views on romantic relationships is palpable in her music. Passionate relationships she had when she was younger inspired her sassy music. However, her later works frequently display a more profound and contemplative perspective on love. As an artist with a wealth of life experiences to share, Nicks has matured from a young woman working through relationship issues